I always tell people that I became a writer not because I went to school, but because my mother took me to the library. Hello, Professor Janet Arauz. I am Sandra Laura Cisneros, and in this opportunity, I'm going to share with you about my life and my beginnings as an American writer. So let's start. Here I have a picture of me. It was like 3 or 4 years ago. I don't really remember now. Oh my god, let me see. Okay, my biography. I have 2 points here: my place of birth and my occupation. I was born in the United States on December 20th, 1854, and my occupation, as I said before, I am a writer, also a novelist, a poet, and an artist. Now I have here my background. I'm going to develop the 3 points that I selected to write here. The first one is that I did not have a normal childhood. The second one is that I wanted to believe that poverty was temporal. And the last point is that when I was younger, I realized that I had to write what I knew. In the first point, that I did not have a normal childhood, I can say that as a growing person in a society where the class norm was like focused on the television screen, I couldn't understand why our house wasn't all green lawns and white like the ones in the programs Leave It to Beaver and Father Snows. And the second point, there is that I wanted to believe that poverty was temporal. I can say that when I was younger, I looked toward stories to escape. There was a book called The Little House, and I checked out of the library over and over again. The house of that story was my dream house because of its color that was white, and that's my favorite color, and also because it was permanent and stable. And that's exactly what I wanted when I was young. I was tired, extremely tired of being traveling and moving from one place to another place. I just wanted peace, a happy family, and above all, stability. I'm sure that I wasn't the one with that thinking. Maybe there were more Latin children thinking the same as me. Now, let's talk about something really interesting and something that made me happy too. That is one of my awards. I selected in this opportunity five of them, but I have more. The first one is at the ceremony in September 2016. I was awarded and I received a Medal of Arts. In 2019, PAN American awarded me the PAN Nabokov. Also, I received fellowship from the National Endowment for the Arts in 1981. Also, I was presented with the American Book Award by Before Columbus Foundation for the House on Mango Street, and I received a Frank Duffy Artist Fellowship, and I came first and second in the Segundo Concurso Nacional. Now I'm going to read a short part of one of my pieces that is called 11. Okay, what they don't understand about birthdays and what they never tell you is that when you are 11, you are also 10 and 9 and 8 and 7 and 6 and 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. And when you wake up on your 11th birthday, you expect to feel 11, but you don't. You open your eyes and everything is just like yesterday. Only it's today and you don't feel 11 at all. You don't feel You feel like you're still 10 and you are underneath the year that makes you 11. I feel inspired when I'm reading this, and the message here is that no matter how old you get, there are moments in your life where you feel like a child. Even though you continue to age, you bring along the past with you. The past experiences of the younger you is still part of your personality even as you get older. And as I said before, I feel inspired while I read this short story that I created. Now let's talk about my education. And okay, my education. I studied at a Catholic school and then at Loyola University in Chicago, where I took a BA in 1976. After that, I was admitted to the prestigious Writer Workshop at the University of Iowa, and I had the opportunity to receive the MFA Bachelor in 1978. And I have a second point that is my biggest inspiration was my mother. And this is something that I like to share with the people because it's relevant. And my mother was a big influence in my education since she was like all the time pushing me forward, to do my best and to receive a great education. My mom didn't want me to believe or to think the stereotype that letting women in America only serve to take care of houses. No, she didn't want that to me. She wanted the best for me, and I just feel grateful because that was my biggest inspiration every single day when I was a child, when I was young. And now that I am an adult, I can still continue saying that that woman was my biggest inspiration in my life. And this is happy and sad at the same time because you know that not all the people have the same opportunity to have like someone um, who inspire you every single day to do your best. And I'm grateful with that woman. She was motivating me. She was telling me, Sandra, you have to study. What I have to give you is the opportunity to receive education, and that's represented everything for me. And I'm grateful. Thanks, mom. Now I'm going to talk about my family. Well, I selected one, two, three, four, five points. And the first one is I have a really big family. When I say I have a really big family, I mean it. Because I am the third of seven brothers. And I am the only daughter. I have two nationalities. You could see this. And I look like a Mexican woman, but I was born in the United States. I felt exclusion from my father's side. This is something that makes me feel sad sometimes when I remember, when I think about it. But honestly, I can say that my father was like all the time and saying when the people asking him, ask him like, "What about your children?" And he used to say, "I have six sons and one daughter." It was like it's exclusion. It was like an exclusion for me because I was the only girl. But I don't think too much about it. And an anecdote, I'm going to share an anecdote of my great grandfather. He played the piano for the Mexican president of his period, and he collected like a big amount of money, but he lost everything. And the last point is that the opportunity my father had. My father was a lucky man, and my grandfather was saving money during his life. And when my father was about to start the college, my grandfather paid everything for him to have the opportunity to receive education. But what happened? My father didn't take that opportunity and he failed all the subjects in the university. So my grandfather, of course, was too angry, and my father ran away to another country, that is the United States, to start a life, to work with one of my uncles, and then he met my mother in the United States, and they started to live in one of the poorest neighborhoods of the United States in Chicago. That is something that made me think a lot about the great opportunity that my father lost just because he wasn't like interested in the study. But what can I do? Let's continue. Um, my writing process. Well, I have 4 points here. The first one is it was influenced by my personal experiences. And people say that I am a special writer because I put like my essence in every single piece that I write, and that's true. I used to hear the conversations in the street, and then I started to write about that. Also, my testimony in the conference in Santa Fe. This is something that catch the attention of the people because I talk about my Mexican influence in my writings, and I have an anecdote about the book Woman Hollering Greek. And when I was writing that, I was so immersed in the characters that I had a dream about that book. Okay, continuing to the idea about the anecdote that I had about the book Woman Hollering Greek, and I can say that I was so immersed in that book that I had a dream about it. And what I did was to collect all the dialogues in that dream, and I write them in the real story that I was writing at that moment. And the last point is my bilingualism and my biculturalism. Well, about that, everybody knows that I am bilingual, of course, because my family, part of my family is from Mexico, and we live in the United States. And also that I share two cultures, that is the Mexican culture and the American culture. And that's amazing because that is what makes my pieces so special and different. Let's continue quickly. My literary themes. And first of all, my perspective of home. For me, home is more than a place where we live. Home means a, a place for a woman to be free, not to be waiting for a man's opinion. No, that place should have our style, should have our shoes next to the bed. That place should be like something special for a woman, a source of inspiration to write and to express feelings. And the second is the case in the house of Mango Street with the young protagonist Esperanza. Well, as I was saying, Esperanza in my book The House on Mango Street was a woman with the dream to have her own house. And that's what I think, that we have to fight. We have to do our best effort to get what we really want, to have our own house, not to be just waiting for a man with a house or with a car. That's not in that way. And the last one, there is a comparison of my work with the famous essay from Virginia Woolf, which is called A Room of Her Own. Yeah, the comparison was great because um, it says that women must have money and a house of her own. And I really believe that we need to have a place where we can write, where we can be free. And just to be finishing this, I'm going to talk about my current life. I am currently living in Mexico. I took this decision to know more about my Mexican culture. Also, when people ask me, where are you from? I don't say I'm from Mexico or I am from the United States. I consider myself as a citizen of the world. That's it. And what do people think about me? What do people think about Sandra Cisneros? Many people say that my work is very incredible and I have admirers and fans, and that's really amazing. That makes me feel very happy. And the second point is I am considered as a controversial author. I don't know the reason. I need to be honest, I don't know the reason why people think that. And some people say that I am too romantic, but others say that I am romantic enough. So for me, that's great. They can think whatever they want. And most of the people know about the huge hit of my book, The House on Mango Street. And that filled my hair with joy because it was a reflection of my life, of my thinking, of my culture, all of those thinkings in one book. Thank you.